Hey everybody, this is Greth for Story Time. I'm here at the Connecticut Fur Meets again, all the way in Rocky Hill, Connecticut. Today I'm going to be doing interviews, asking questions that people have asked on Facebook. Don't mind me, I got a piece of paper because I don't remember all of them. Some of them were asked by actual furries, some of them were asked by people who are non-furries, and some of them were asked by myself. So sit back, relax, watch this long, boring, probably video. You might get some awesome responses, we'll see. And we're going to get a few people in here. Alright. Basically what's going to happen, I ask you questions, what people ask me on Facebook of what a furry is. Most of the questions are from non-furs, and they're generally curious about certain things. You have the ability to say pass on anything you get stumped on or you don't want to answer. It's kind of like a game show all of a sudden. Suddenly. That's pretty much it. Let's get in on this as I'm getting targeted on the face probably.
Snipers.
This is the wrong question list, so let me get the proper question list. But I do know that the first question says, why do you think 80% of the fur fandom consists of gays, lesbians, and bisexuals?
You know what? I think maybe it's because, I really don't know. I guess it's just because general society kind of doesn't really accept them as much as they could, so furries are basically like those nerdy kid table that doesn't judge you at all, so I feel like that welcomes people more than a usual group of people, whatever usual is.
I have to say it's because being a part of the furry fandom it's definitely more of a thinking outside of the box thing, and it's a very accepting community. So I know that I personally sought it out because everyone was so accepting there, and I was having a hard time finding, friends in my own community.
I think there's a connection regarding rejection of the overall public at all. I mean, if you tend to be one of these kids that sticks to the corner, you get noticed. It's an old saying, if a nail sticks out too much, it doesn't hammer. Unfortunately, that's what I see. That's the way it has been. I wouldn't think that this group will be any more different. A lot of people that are different have different taste, beliefs, hobbies, etc. And we kind of band together. It's kind of cool. We kind of get together.
Honestly, I don't really have an answer for that.
Okay, so we'll skip that.
Well, no, I mean, people are who they want to be, It's not just the fur fandom. I mean, it's 2012. There's, people are opening up more to who they really are. So.
Okay.
I think, in my opinion, it's because, as people being gay by or whatever, it's just so it gets me judged. That's my main thing.
Alright.
There's really no saying for it from my end because I want to really come out to the fandom in like a year or two, but it's just whatever really. Like if somebody wants to be gay, bi, straight, les, I say let them because their choice. Nobody else, they don't understand it.
Why did you become a furry? Is it a way of finding your inner self that you could only get from wearing a mask? Or is it a deeper meaning?
I kind of got into it just because I thought it was kind of fun. I actually didn't really know I was a furry until I saw, that there's an actual thing called it. I just kind of saw certain cartoons and was just like, hey, that's cool. What if I was a cat person thing? And then it just kind of just clicked and I was like, awesome. And I don't know, I felt more at home like that than anime characters.
I really just started becoming a furry for the role-playing aspect because I've always liked role-playing. And when I discovered that there were anthropomorphic characters, then I just really thought that was interesting. Then I got into it for the art and then the community, and I've really been there through the community ever since. And just the personal satisfaction I've gotten from it has been a bonus.
I picked up furry because I've already been doing anthropomorphic figures in every kind of cartoon there was. I've been drawing well over 30 years, and I've been drawing since the 80s, especially anthropomorphic. But also is the connection I find to these cartoons that later on just became furry. I said, well, I think that's something I can join in, so that's something I can partake in.
No, I've been a furry since as long as I can remember, but I just recently found out it had a name. I've always been fascinated with the anthropomorphic arts. Cartoons with animals was always kind of my favorite thing. And, after I found out that there was such thing as the fur fandom, I kind of had a suit made and just had fun with it.
It's fun.
It's fun?
Yeah, downright fun. I mean, And it's also one of those. It's again, it comes down to the whole judgment thing. Nobody in the fandom's gonna judge you unless you're a complete prick. Yes.
The reason I became a fur was back when I was a kid. I was 14. I had a dog, and I raised him since he was a puppy. And well, when you raise a dog from that age, when you're a puppy, you're a kid, you're spiritually bonded to the dog because you grow up with it. And one day I came home from school and I buried my dog at 14, and ever since then I was always into being with huskies because that's what my dog was.
Why that specific animal? Are they favorites or do they represent a deeper meaning to you?
Well, my animal is, it's mainly a raccoon, but it's been tossed around from being half raccoon, half wolf or something. But I chose a raccoon because I felt like, I don't know, I could really, I come off as a raccoon because, I don't know, I guess I'm sneaky or tricky or whatever. And it kind of actually started as a nickname in like 5th grade because I didn't sleep a lot, so I just got these circles under my eyes all the time. They're like, you look like a raccoon. I'm a kid. So I just kind of
My animal's the hyena, and the thing is, at first it was really just because, I like hyenas, but the more that I've found out about them, the more that I've actually personally related to them.
Specific animal will be either a wolf or a fox. Basically because of the number one question answer. An omega wolf usually is a detention breaker, and if he actually is no good for anything else in the pack, he will actually go off on his own. And foxes are typically alone until they mate for life. They're explorers, they're adventurers.
This for me right now is a starter creature. I'm in the middle of making a new fursona, which is a hybrid canine coffee dragon.
Coffee?
Yeah, that's kind of my favorite thing. It's an animal built around me.
I honestly don't know why I picked a wolf. I guess mainly because I thought it was like, I guess really it's very common for the wolf, so I was like, well, I may as well kind of just jump on the bandwagon. Thinking about it now, you can be just about anything you want to be. It's whatever your heart's into.
Okay.
It's really an animal of choice. If they want to be a fox, any kind of canine, even a dragon or a bird, let them. It's their choice. If they like birds, it's a bird. They want to be a dragon, it's a spiritual animal.
What do you think of the deep hatred and stigma of being a furry? Why do you think most people refer to being a furry as someone who indulges themselves in bestiality? And what can you do to make this a more positive thing for furries?
I think people think that because they just look at something and they don't actually like dive into like what it means. But I guess the only way you can really kind of just have people understand what it is if they're actually willing to sit down and listen. Otherwise, if they're just going to be ignorant and not really pay attention, don't even bother. They're just gonna, nothing you can say is gonna change their mind. But if they're willing to sit down and listen, then just educate them on what it is, really.
Which is the main purpose of this video, basically.
I think the big thing is just because, it's just with the brony fandom. There's always going to be bad eggs in every bunch. You find it in every fandom. And it's really just with the furries because a lot of the furry art is sexual. People just seem to notice that more than the other ones because generally, the less sexual furries are quiet. You're going to notice the guys who are screaming at them.
I think it's a lot of, I think ignorance is very powerful today. People love to be ignorant and label other people. We don't know about what you are, so we're just going to label you. I don't like what you're doing, I wouldn't do it, so I'm going to label you. You're dressing as an animal, you come across to me as maybe some sort of weird deviant or animal worshiper. Yeah, that'll lead me to think you're, indulging in some sort of taboo sex thing with animals. It's just, I think it's sheer ignorance. What people don't know, they tend to judge.
The whole fur fandom is just misconstrued. I believe one of your other interviewers mentioned something about the media capturing the negative points because it sells better than honest. We're so different than bestiality. I mean, if you take any community, commodity, religion, anything, there's that 1% that take things way too far. Like, the fur fandom isn't squeaky clean, we're not. There is that 1% in the fandom that, people will take it too far. That's why we have a bad name, because people capture that. But they don't know what we do, inside conventions. And I did my own research, We bring in more money than the Super Bowl year-round.
That's impressive.
And we're not corporate. We're not corporate Coca-Cola. We're not, Mazda, Ford. We're not corporate at all. We're people that raise this kind of money year-round. And it's all for charity.
I think really just the people who do that kind of thing, it's based on facts. I'm not going to deny that, there are people who have sex in fursuit. Anybody's going to do it, furry or non-furry. So just that fact alone, people are going to obviously do some trolling.
Well, the whole deal on that, in my eyes, why people hate furries, despise them, is because they think it's a bunch of random adults, kids, just having sex in giant orgies. That's not what it is. It's just something new. They can't accept the fact that it's new and different. Everyone wants to be the same.
How old were you when you decided you were going to be a furry?
Well, like I said, I was always kind of, so I guess like since I was 12, when I actually started drawing and stuff like that. But I didn't really find out about what it was until like sophomore year of high school, which I can't remember how far back that was. I'm not that old, but so that's when I figured I'd be a part of it, I guess, when I actually made like an FA account. I was just like, yeah, here I am.
For those who don't know what FA is Furfinity. It's a furry website where people post furry art.
I think I was about 16. 21 now.
21 now?
I don't think I remember one day that I did not want to be a special cartoon that I either saw on TV or have my own cartoon, actually. Have my own, like the Fursana thing. It's been around since I was a kid. Like, I always like foxes. I figure foxes as warriors. Like some of the other cartoons I've seen that were not furry.
Kind of like Disney's Robin Hood.
Robin Hood was probably one of the first ones, if not the first one I seen. I mean, that movie goes back to like 81. I was born in 75. 6 was the perfect age. I seen these characters. I'm like, wow, I like that fox with the arrow and whatnot. It's like something you look up to.
Honestly, like I said, I was a furry my entire life from what I can remember.
Roughly about 15, 16. And before then, I was a closet furry. I was kind of, it was one of those things where I didn't want anybody to really find out. I was so under the impression that, okay, if I'm being really weird, I'm not going to be that person, that popular guy. Yes.
I was going to ask how old you were when you decided to become a furry, but you just told me it was 14. So, did you feel anything towards him before that?
Not necessity, not really, but he was just, he was a good dog to have.
What is your favorite furry term?
Oh man.
Go ahead, feel free to be truthful.
I think I kind of got around to using the term pawing.
Pawing off?
Pawing off. When I first heard that, I was just like, is someone decapitating, lacerating dogs' arms? No, then I found out. It's just like,
it's a sexual term.
That's how furries,
Most furry terms are sexual, if you notice, but
most of them are.
Unfortunately.
I generally hate most furry lingo, like furrens and stuff like that, just because
they're kind of annoying and stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't that many furry words that I like. I guess the one that I like the best is fursona, just because I think that's a pretty good pun.
I don't think I have one.
You don't think you have one?
But the one I remember the quickest is not my favorite one, because it's the most abundant.
Is it Yif?
Oh, definitely. You hear that all the time, like, yeah, Yif this, Yif that. But not in a negative way, but rather, I shouldn't say that. Like, people coming across saying Yif, it's to describe their art or just the action of the art. I'm more familiar with spooch, which is the stuff you get off of, according to some people. I don't take it there.
Apparently, originally the term Yif, coined from the very first furries, or forefathers I should say. Apparently it was a fox fursona, and that was the noise he made when he was happy. It was Yif. And somebody, at some point down the road, turned it around and turned it into a more sexual term, unfortunately.
Yes, I actually heard before, it's supposedly the sound the Siberian foxes make when they mate. I don't know, I have no idea if that has any scientific actual proof behind it. I just know I've heard that for about, 8 or 9 years already. And that's why I heard that from the first time.
Okay.
Even though when I first heard it, I just knew it had to be something sexual.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's an explanation behind it.
All right.
And it's just because it goes back to that 1%. It's that dreadful word that ruins us. And I just find it humorous.
Fur pile.
Fur pile. So, reason for that?
It's just funny. You walk up to some random fursuiter or random furry, call fur pile.
What are your opinions of what happened to the Jersey FurBQ and Fox? And what is your opinion on Fox 5's news views on it?
Is that like when they were having sex or whatever?
It was what happened was somebody was having sex with another person in suit out in the open, but that quote unquote was a rumor, and Fox 5 picked it up and decided to make a news reel on it.
Right. See, like, if that was true, then that's their own fault. It's just kind of just being indecent. But since it was just a rumor, like, it didn't really happen, I feel like that's just the news taking everything and just selling it. Like, no one wants to hear about a good day on the news. Everyone flocks in to see a disaster. Everyone flocks in to see some celebrity be humiliated or something. No one just gets away on the news with having a good day. So I just feel like bad news is the best kind of delivery for that market. There's nothing good sells. Like, no one watches the news for a good day. They just watch it for disasters and horrible people and the weather.
And I think one of the big things is that really when you see someone who's a furry, and it's not like, I just noticed that a lot of the more conservative people see furries and it's like, well, why would you wear a costume? They must be perverts. And I think one of the big things is, like, if you're a news station, you want to get viewers, and of course you find something where it's like, oh, this crazy thing happened, we need viewers. It doesn't really matter who gets hurt in the process so much as you've got the views.
Plus, I think that's pretty sad. Given again, I think the most thing I can do is probably quote unquote some of the higher people up in the fandom. I'm not just gonna get into names or derivatives of who these people are. But I heard this before. I mean, the news is their job, and they know nothing sells better than controversy. And if I want to talk about a little puppy that got rescued, they might throw it at the end when they're closing for the night, when everybody's just saying, oh, the good stuff passed away. But if you say somebody was having some sort of deviant sex in a fursuit, hey, if I was a reporter, I'd be there on the spot trying to find out what it was, if it was or not. That's what they're doing. I feel they're doing their job. It's not a good thing. It hurts us all in a way or another. But, you know, it's just something that shouldn't happen based on rumors.
How do I find my inner furry? I know, that's a funny question.
You know, I think you just find an animal that you can kind of connect with, if that makes any sense. Just find an animal you can connect with, one that, even if it's one that you like if you're some kid that, like, I really like, I don't know, narwhals, they're cool, I want to be an anthropomorphic narwhal, then cool, man. That's what I did. I just found an animal I liked and I stuck with it.
Your inner furry, like, would that mean like fursona?
Like, I guess, I don't know.
Just sort of like who you're on the furry fandom?
Yeah.
I found that I really came to the greatest terms as a furry when I was just finding and socializing with new furries. Because really by meeting more new people, you tend to see what you fall into and what you don't fall into.
All right, so you said inner furry. Oh, wow. When you say inner furry, I think fursona. How do you view yourself if, say, in an alternate universe, if you could be your furry person? How do you find that? I quite frankly don't know. I mean, to me, I find a connection, a personal connection to that animal. And if I could say I'm a natural cheater at this, because I already draw. And I had a liking to animals. I grew up around animals. So it's like, it's for me, it's a given. But I see what you're saying. If somebody isn't considering themselves a furry or just, I don't know, has a different attraction to this whole thing, how do you find the inner furry?
That's a good question.
If you can't find an answer, you can say kindness.
Well, I think to find your inner furry, just kind of relate yourself close to an animal with the same interest. You know, and start from there. Make that your foundation. And then just let your imagination run wild.
There's all sorts of different ways you can kind of figure that out. I've seen some people that will go online to Google, go to like Quizzilla or something, and take a quiz on what kind of fur they would be. But again, it comes down to the whole whatever your heart's set at. If you think you're a dolphin, by all means be a dolphin.
how do you find your furry? Well, it goes back on, you know, if you want to be a cat, any kind of dog, any kind of spiritual animal, you can be what you want to be, you know? Maybe you believe in a past life where you were a cat, or you were a dragon, or a dolphin, or an otter. It's just all personal feeling and opinion, really.
Here is a more sexual term. What is yif to you?
What is yif to me? I think that's the same thing it is to everybody. It's just,
Well, it's like, it could go any way you can possibly make it. It's like, do you like yif? Do you think it's disgusting?
it's awful. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's fun. I like it.
It's quite obvious it's sex. It's a furry term for
sex.
sex. A lot of people seem to think furries are sex-driven, which is unfortunate. But you also got to keep in mind, a majority of the fandom is actually teenagers or younger
that's
people.
definitely true. Yeah.
So, as a teenager or younger person, you're already
Horny as it is.
more horny as it is because you're going through all these changes in your life.
And everything. So to me, I guess it gets that negative look because, like you said, a lot of furries are coming in now. Especially, I noticed a larger amount of them are younger, 14, 15. That's when they're starting to get, you know, all horny. To me, it's just sex. You know? It's just the same as porn. Like everyone watches porn. It's just it gets such a highlight because, like you said, a lot of them are younger and they're getting into that hormonal stage. Part of it because of that.
Yif is basically just a generic term for, you know, any kind of pornographic material involving furries.
Okay.
Yif, generally coined as the word for sex. Usually, you know, let's go yif. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna draw a commission for me, can you draw yif? As in, can you draw the sexual act? That I believe, I don't know, might be open to either tasteful, as in not showing any genitalia, or just straight out hardcore, like a porn film or whatnot. So I think it's very open, but yes, sexual context.
The bird that has pulled us back like a 2-ton weight.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Not much to say about it, huh?
No.
Alright.
That is just an awful word.
Sex.
Sex. Okay, that's pretty obvious.
Yes, no doubt about that. But you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, it's just passed around or whatever.
Honestly, yif just is another term for sex in the furry world. That's what they gave it. That's all I know.
How do you feel about public meets and cons? Should they be handled in a certain way? For example, you can use this one as an example. So a lot of people have been saying that this is becoming too big, too loud, and out of control. And they think that certain things should be put in place to limit this now.
Now who's saying that?
I'm just saying what I've heard and saw online.
Yeah, so I feel like they're fun. I feel like they're great. I feel like maybe I don't know how to control it. It's more of an open thing to everybody. So I guess the most I would say is like an age limit, which isn't really, I guess, too effective. But it all just depends on how responsible and mature you can hold yourself. Like if you're that kid that's like shouting, you know, penis in my butt, then you should get out. This guy. Or if you know you're going around showing, you know, your pictures to everybody, and just do it more discreetly. You know, don't like make it a billboard.
Like, hey, I draw furry porn.
Look at this knot.
Look at this vagina.
I think the public meet, I just love the idea of having it. I definitely think that if you're going to have a public meet or a con, there needs to be ground rules just to make sure you're not making anyone else who's not a furry feel uncomfortable, because as great it is to have these meets, there are people who are going to, you know, be pushed over the edge if you have some guy carrying another guy on a leash.
I think it's good if you have, say, organization. Organization is good. Order is always good. Nothing good results out of chaos, I believe, because I mean it is after all chaos, random stuff happening that could lead to all sorts of no good things for everybody. So yeah, controlled. I would be inclined to be more next to a meet I've never been to. There was say a little bit of maybe a security guard here and there. It's kind of like a con, but out here. But yeah, everything in good order. Everything in good order and good spirits. Just keeping eyes on our guys, behave, etc.
I will only go to a con if it's open to the public. Meaning, if it's restricted to adults, I'm not going to go because that means something is usually taking place behind those scenes. So it's not something I'm interested in.
Yes, they should be handled more organized. For example, like this, yeah, we organize it once a month, but if, for example, like the authorities want to get involved, we can have the town line diners say, or we can have the diners say, hey, they're just hanging around, they're not doing much, just a bunch of weird kids being weird.
Public cons and meets, if you ask me, it should be a little restricted, sort of like where it doesn't get out of hand, people aren't just wandering, and there's at least some, common courtesy to anybody that's out and around that's not for, that's in the middle, or people trying to get around you, just move out of the way.
Regarding public fursuiting, do you think that the authorities in the general area should be notified if you yourself, or a group of people are going to fursuit to avoid any issues it may cause?
Well, I mean, if it's like an issue with like the what's the word, the area, whatever, the
Security.
that's not the word I'm looking for. The ownership of the land, I can't think the word of it. If it's a conflict of interest with the people who own the property, that's the word, then I guess it would help to like, hey, I'm going to be dressed up as, in a fursuit, so yeah, be careful, I might knock some shit over. But
Like me walking into a Stop and Shop and knocking over pepperoni with my wing by accident.
that too. Like if it's something like that, then I guess it doesn't hurt to just be like, hey, I'm going to be wearing a suit. Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. No, that's not okay.
I'm sorry.
I think so. I think it generally depends on what's going to be happening. I mean, usually for a convention or something like that, I don't think that would be a big deal, but possibly
As a this, for
in a
example.
setting as this, I don't really know. I don't think there would be too many complications. If it was in a more public area, like more in like the central part of the city, then yeah, because there's going to be a lot more people walking around, and there's definitely going to be a lot more attention.
I think that's always good. Yeah, I mean, I'd say if the membership, depending on the membership list, or on the attendance rather, if you have 70 people, 80 people, 100 people meeting, and you welcome from different places, you never know what's going on. You don't really know everybody's going to show up. Then yeah, I think it's a good thing to just keep an officer around, just to keep things in order, or to just make the general public feel like this ain't a freaky show. That everybody's like, oh, let's go do this and call it they like it or not. Or rather, to just show the general public, especially, that there is some sort of order present around.
Personally, no, because I'm pretty sure if I were to go rob a store, I wouldn't ditch a $1,500 suit for $500 at a register. So, I mean, as far as being like, hey, I'm gonna go wear my fursuit on the street and hold up a sign for something, I don't think I should have to let the police know.
Yes and no. I mean, for example, if you were to go to like Walmart or whatever and kind of suit around, if the manager comes up to you and says, "Hey, please take off your head," just be courteous and take it off. I mean, what's the big deal? What exactly is going to happen? Is the world going to blow up if you take off your head? Okay, you're breaking ruining the magic. Is that really a big deal? Most people know already that there's a human underneath.
If you have a feeling that a gathering of a bunch of fursuiters and there's going to be maybe liquor involved or anything like that, maybe a little bit, maybe one or two, just make sure everything stays in order so no random drunks or whoever comes out of a bar and wants to try and pick a fight because this guy's wearing a dog costume or he's wearing a fox costume. That way no fights break out or anything like that. So I wouldn't have an issue with it, personally.
Okay. What advice would you give to any new furs or closet furs?
Just, if you're gonna out yourself to a group of friends, make sure it's a group of friends that, are actually good friends, that actually accept you for who you are. In the past friends I had, I thought it'd be okay to just let them know, but they kind of just made fun of me for it. And I was just like, fuck you guys.
It's okay, Lewis. We love you.
But yeah, see, as you can tell, I made better new friends that accept me for everything. I'm still the exact same person. It's no different from someone being a Trekkie or someone just being really into Dungeons and Dragons. It's just the same thing to me.
To a new fur, closet fur, I'd just say, have fun with it, Don't feel like being a furry has to be some big deal, it can be anything you want it to be. It can be just about the art. It can be just about, you know, even just about the sexual aspect. As long as you're having fun with it, that's the important part.
New fur or closet fur? I think due to how generally this is viewed as something very taboo. It was kind of like, seriously speaking, how gay was viewed in the 80s, and I remember that. It's a new thing, and it involves a high diversity, a diverse amount, a very huge diverse amount of people with different religious beliefs, credos, sexual orientations. I tell whoever wants to feel like they want to be a furry or they're new at the fandom, just be yourself. You know, just have fun. Take it with you. Be yourself and have fun. Don't try to act like nothing you're not. And I think you should be just that.
New furs and closet furs, well, they're kind of two separate things. New furs, I guess you could take it as like, you know, someone that's attending a convention. I tell them, you know, the new furs, I kind of just tell them for the first convention to sit back and just watch people be themselves. You know, and then when they go to another convention or like when they feel comfortable, they can, you know, hop in. But instead of just jumping in and saying, well, this is how I'm going to do it, you know, it's about being yourself, but you want to like be appropriately yourself. And for the closet furries, come out. Coming out about being a furry shouldn't be coming out about, you know, shouldn't be harder than coming out about being gay or something. You know, it's not that devastating. Hey, you know, I like doing this because it's a hobby. You know, it's a lifestyle/hobby.
Go out and explore, goddammit. If you don't explore, you won't know a goddamn thing.
Any new furs or closet furs? I mean, like, for new furs, you mean like just someone that's all new to the fandom?
Yeah.
Don't be shy, just come out at your own pace. When you're comfortable to come out and talk to people, feel free to. And for those closet furs, don't be surprised, you know? I had a friend of mine that I went to high school with for 8 years, and I didn't know. And he recently became a furry, and he also recently became bisexual. And he had a crush on me for 8 years, and I didn't know it. You think you know one of your best friends from school? Who knows? Your best friend from your own class. You could be a furry, you could be gay, bi, or straight. You don't know. Always ask and find out. Just be open.
If you wore something furry related in public and were asked to leave the premises unless you took it off, what would you do?
Fight the power!
Kind of a dick, so I would just like,
I'll drink
I would just, I don't know, I would just leave. I wouldn't continue my business side. I would just leave. I'd be like, whatever, fuck this. I'd probably just leave.
That was kind of almost covering the topic of when we went. The Stop and Shop over
about
here.
that, like when you said that, it's like
that question was related to that actually.
Yeah.
I actually did not come up with that question. Another furry did.
I would do so. I personally don't believe in wearing too much furry stuff in public. I'll maybe wear a shirt or something that has furries on it, but in general I found that wearing tails and collars in public really alienates a lot more people than it does create any kind of positive attention.
I definitely comply for the sake of good relations, as the fandom is growing steadily, has been for quite a while now, and just for the sake of, skeletons in the closet, people tend to not forget the negative. Let's say we went mainstream, and I'm not saying we're not, because we're really not. There hasn't been any real movies determining the term furry and depicting us as a fandom. But if we ever went truly mainstream, then that would be a hell of a selling point for the people spreading controversy. Or some furry guy went into a supermarket and refused to remove his mask when it's a supermarket policy. There goes trash on our eyes. You know, this can grow, and it will grow, as long as we still keep into consideration the laws of the land.
Take it off. I mean, seriously, it's another thing where, is it really a big issue if you do take it off? Is it going to be that big of a problem? If it is a problem for you, then I think you're just being an immature prick.
I just simply take it off. It's not the end of the world if, I have a tail. Well, sir, can you please take it off? Sure. Okay. It's not really hurting you. You're not disrespecting anything. Yeah.
Oh no, why do you think furries get their fursuits?
I don't really think it's a sense of completion. I just think it's like, I don't know, I think it's the same reason why people like customized cars. It's like if you can, then just do it. If I had money to get a fursuit, I probably would get one. I'd walk around and I'd see how it's like.
Basically, for personal reasons, this fur is staying off camera. Now, the reason that people will get a fursuit is not necessarily a sense of completement, because that would be more along the lines of a Therian, which is more of a spiritual connection to what a furry technically is. If somebody were to buy a fursuit, it is more along the lines just to be more into the community, which is largely just about accepting people. And what more could you do to prove acceptance than like accepting somebody who's in a giant freaking thing of fur? Also, who the fuck doesn't want to be hugged by something fluffy and warm? Hitler didn't.
I think it really depends on the person, but I've noticed that the people who get the fursuits are definitely more extroverts and definitely like to perform. I'm getting one, and it's definitely because I love the idea of having a costume to really be in character. It's less about totally being able to become my character so much as being able to have that true sense of roleplay.
Me personally, I'm getting a fursuit, but I feel it's so I can act out my character, or persona, because I have so many characters and I would love to act out my character, show my people my character, but through my actions. Not just the way I draw him, hey, look at this drawing, he's nice, but if I feel I can put on my character and show people how he is, it'll bring people closer to that character. Now, people in general, other people, other furs, it'll be very hard to say what kind of reasons they have, but I think it's very diverse. It could be from anything from personal, just personal beliefs to fetishes to just acting out a character. It could be, it's all up to the person. It's a very diverse crowd, it's a very diverse world.
Okay.
To me, I think it's a great way to be yourself without being judged.
In a sense, yes, but at the same time, they probably just want to do it to be fun. Some want to do it to be that guy, to hang around. Hence, it goes back. It kind of leans towards like popularity, that kind of thing. Be noticed, that sort of thing.
In my eyes, getting a fursuit, it's more cosplaying, really, where you can just. Let's say you're like this, not really an outgoing person in public wise, but you put on a fursuit, it could be like another personality almost, like, no one knows who you are. You can be whatever you want to be, act how you want to be, just have a good time and have fun.
If you decide what your fursona is to be, how do you bring it to life in the fur community?
I just drew it. I kept drawing it until I decided which character I wanted to put out there and keep it for myself. And I guess I get just other people to draw it too, and then just kind of see how it works. I just draw it. That was just one answer that I just really dragged out.
Usually, I know that mine just started off in roleplay, so it was really just text and scripts. And one day I was just sketching and I drew my character. And from then on, there was more art, more development, and things just happened that way.
Okay.
Me personally, I draw and try to design around it. Again, I would like to act out a persona. So I have many personas, many characters, many as I have personas. I would just like to bring it out in a way that people can appreciate. I would like to bring it out in the form of a person. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money to make all personas. So I'm trying to just make one that people will relate to what I think is a nice character.
I'd probably start small.
I got there first.
The art,
And
just to kind of get a feel for how people would react to it. And then, once I got my answer, I'd probably make a suit.
There's all sorts of ways you can bring it to life. You can bring it to life through basically either through reading or basic fursuiting. And also, you don't have to actually have any of those to actually, bring your character to life. You can be your own in your own skin. If that makes sense.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Well, how you would bring it to life, or how anybody would bring it to life, you can have it drawn out, sketched up, have a fursuit designed to look just like it, or really, I really don't know what to answer, but that's all I can give you.
You have to admit that you're a furry to actually be one. Is there such thing as a closet furry?
I don't know. I think if you're just into the general just anthropomorphic animal thing, then I guess you're
Without-
a furry, but I mean, if you're just into it, then, you know, whatever. I guess a closet furry would be someone who kind of just likes it, but he doesn't let other people know he likes it. So I'm sure there's tons of people like that.
There's definitely closet furries. I mean, there are a lot of people who are afraid of the social stigma of having to say that you're a furry. I mean, it's understandable. There's a lot of places where even just, bringing it up, people are going to shun you. But I think you do have to be a furry if you say you're one, because there are a lot of people who are into anthro art or they draw it, and they're not technically furries because that's just not how they're into the fandom.
Yeah, I believe so. A lot of people are afraid, of course, of the stereotypes. Again, it was like gay with the 80s. I mean, if you were gay in the 80s, there was a chance, as I'm speaking for my generation, people who grew up in my times, it's very hard for people to come out of the closet and say, okay, look, I'm gay, I like guys. You get hazed, you get beat up, you get jumped. People just didn't want a gay dude around them without even knowing they judge them. Not speaking for any specific people in specific, like any race, creed, or whatnot, or belief, but just people in general. I experienced this myself with a couple of friends that were in the closet. Some of us knew. It got out, and the poor kid was hazed many times. They didn't beat him to death, but I consider it sort of a hate gag. So it's not cool. For those that are hiding furry because of that, I myself don't see it as something that could be constituted more taboo than, again, from judging from something actually coming out of the closet being gay when you're known as straight. But I feel where they're coming from. It's just, that's the world the way it is. People are judgmental, that's what they're going to do. And whoever's in the closet, just make sure you have a nice group with you when you say, hey, I just have to say I'm a furry. And make sure that you find out one way or another how the loved ones in your life or the people you know in your life will feel about it. But that shouldn't at all hinder your ability to decide whether you want to come out or not. Just do it safely. People are still ignorant around here.
Furries are about curiosity, so I don't think you actually have to be a furry to try it out.
In a sense, really, when you think about it, yes and no. Because one, if you don't want to admit it, just out of the fear of being judged, that I'd say is more of a closet furry. I've actually seen people in the military that are furries. They'll admit it, or sometimes to just be out there, and sometimes they'll do it just for one, to keep their job, or two, not to be fully judged.
As a closet furry, I mean, if you're not ready to come out to the public or any of your friends, you don't have to. You're not forced to do anything. There's this whole thing where if you were to come out to your parents and oh, well, my buddy here, he's a furry too, and your parents think, oh, you're a follower? No, it's just you want to be who you are or what you want to be. No one can tell you otherwise.
How does your friends and family feel about you being a furry?
My family,
love him as a furry.
Thanks, Dad. But my family doesn't really know I'm a furry. I guess I never really just told them. I don't think they really have a problem with it. I mean, they've seen the drawings I've done before, and they've seen me outlined before. And actually, I'm friends with my mom and everybody on Facebook. And I just made my default picture just a drawing I got from a good friend of mine. So I'm pretty sure my mom kind of gets a general idea of it. It's just I'm afraid they watched that episode of CSI and they're like, oh.
A lot of my friends are very accepting of it. For them, they enjoy it through the art, even if they're not furries. My family doesn't really understand it, and I haven't found much of a need to discuss it with them, but, they're okay with it. I mean, I'm not in it for any sexual reason, so there's no real awkwardness for me to talk to them about it.
Not too many know, but I do got my closest friends. I do have pretty much a hand-picked amount of friends. I got 4 or 5 friends that I really entrust and go out with, and we hang out together. They're feeling okay with it. I just went over a friend's house a few weeks ago, and one of the ladies in there says, "Oh my God, you're a furry." And I'm like, "How did you guess?" She's like, "Well, it's kind of cool that you're showing us all these pictures. I have to just take a guess at that." And I'm like, "Well, so what do you think about that? Now, are you going to look at me different? You didn't know me as a furry 5 minutes ago, but now you're saying, oh my God, you're a furry." I think it's just, like I said, there's a lot of ignorance, a lot of very stupid ways we as a people tend to treat things that we don't know nothing about, and it's going to come across very bad at times. So I just say to the people that do know me, yeah, this is what I do as a hobby. These are my friends, and to those that don't, well, deal with it. This is something I like, and you don't have to like it or approve of it.
They all support it, 100%. Because I tell them what to do. As far as donations, charity organizations, and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, that's a fun one. Well, I'll start off with like some easy stuff. My brother, he's actually okay with it. He said he has the typical do the sex and fursuits thing, that kind of thing. I tell him, no, I don't. I just go out, have fun, that kind of thing. My dad, he says we're having fun, right? So he really doesn't care. But when it comes down to my mom, I find it absolutely dumb. She wants me to be mature, be normal, whatever the hell that is.
Normal is whatever you make it to be.
So answer me this, people. If you can answer me what the true definition of normal is, I will give you $50.
Well, with my mom and my father, my dad don't know that I'm gay or that I'm furry, but I told my mom when I was younger, and she wasn't too thrilled about that one. I actually had to find another place to stay for about a month or two.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny, because I still am. I never gave it up, and I recently came out to mom that I was gay, and she thought it was I'm going through a phase. It's not a phase.
Hey everybody, this is Greth for Good Story Time. That's all the time for this video. That was all the furries and their own personal opinions on the questions you gave me. Tell me what you think. Have a nice night.